What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Blerd It Out. We were on break last week, but now we're back. We got the new One Piece chapter, and we're off location right now, so it might be a shorter episode, but we still going to talk about the latest chapter because we got a lot of good stuff in there. As always, a word from our sponsors. Thank you for tuning in to Blerd It Out. Whether you're listening from YouTube on my channels like Darren King Kuma or Blerd It Out Podcast, or one of the many podcast sites like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more, I appreciate your support. If you want to listen to older episodes of the podcast, head on over to Patreon. If you join as a free member, you can watch all the old episodes from the old seasons for free. Plus, there'll be other content that didn't quite make it to an episode or on a YouTube video that you can check out there as well. Your support means the world. And if you have not caught up to the latest chapters and episodes, please note there will be spoilers ahead.
Spoilers.
Now, this chapter, we get one of the biggest almost reveals probably of the series so far. But we're going to get to that at the end of the chapter, which is it's weird because the chapter is named after the almost big reveal we get. So you really don't know why the chapter is named Mo until you get to the end. Yamato is still making the pilgrimage, visiting Nekomamushi and Hyogoro. Nothing really crazy to see here. I honestly forgot that Neko and Ino, I think, stayed in Wano, and then they left Zhao in charge of Carrot and made her the new Duke. Completely forgot about that story beat. But the chapter starts with a very unique scenario because we're on Pirate Island. Now, I don't know if this is Hachinosu. It looks very similar to Hachinosu because it has like the palm trees and the tall buildings kind of leading up to one side. I don't know if this is exactly Hachinosu or a similar pirate island, but we see someone here who looks awfully familiar. Yes, I'm talking about Pearl. But along with Pearl, we see someone who might be Don Krieg and Jin. People we haven't seen in a very long time and people we've been speculating will come back at some point. And like speculating, I say that in jest because it's like half theory, half kind of just random nonsense. But sometimes that random nonsense comes true. I mean, people speculated that Sabo was alive, and that was kind of the same era of like, you know, everyone is Sabo, but Sabo turned to be alive, so, you know. Now we have like the symbol on the man's shoulder that very resemblant of Don Krieg's Jolly Roger. I mean, the outfit's basically the same. The only difference is like the hairstyles. So everything points to this being Don Krieg. And it's funny because people were actually expecting Jin to show up in Wano. Or I may not say expecting, but one of the theories was that Who's Who was Jin. And there was like the whole shoe theory and all that stuff. It went on a whole tangent, but interesting enough, he shows back up here. And basically they're just talking about what's all under the sea, because at this point people are like, well, if the world sunk, that must mean there's riches down there somewhere and we got to get to them. And of course for Cricket, this is a plus. This is a bonus. Man's been diving for years. He already knows his stuff. He about to get paid. We go to the Navy hospital. We got Kobe, we got Drake all bandaged up. Basically they're trying to heal from their time in Wano and Hachinosu. And Kobe says something a little weird here. He says that it's hard to keep up with all the thoughts racing around his head, but write everything down later. Now, Kobe's observation hockey has always been one of the more special ones because it feels like he either has like a really wide range of what he can like sense and hear with his observation hockey, or he just has like this almost like not Mr. X, Professor X ability to just hear everything at once. Like all the information comes in, he can't necessarily separate it. So I want to see where that goes. They also talk about it being their turn to step up, and it's kind of what Garp was alluding to with the generation of young Marines stepping up as the old ones pass by. And I'm not a huge fan of like the new generation has to be better than the old generation. So, I take it with a grain of salt. I'll see what they do first. They have to prove some stuff before I say that they're going to be the next, top Marines. We also get a spot of Smoker, who we haven't seen in forever. Honestly, I hadn't realized it was such like a long gap between when we see him, but I guess back in Punk Hazard was the last time. Mans is out riding on the ocean like Aokiji, which I didn't know. I don't know if we've seen this before. I know we've seen him ride on his bike before, but I don't know if we've seen him ride over water. I don't remember him being able to do that. But I mean, it's not surprising. We've seen Aokiji do it. We've seen Ace do it. Devil Fruits are versatile, so this isn't a big surprise. A little bit back to Vegapunk's message. He talks about how he's been vague on certain points. And as readers, we've kind of been feeling the same way, where it's like, he's been talking for so long, but he hasn't really told us anything. And for me, I don't think that's entirely true. I feel like a lot of what Vegapunk's been saying here is information that we needed confirmation on. Like, sure, we had some ideas and theories and speculation, but we needed confirmation, or else those things will always just stay as ideas. So it's not like we didn't get information. It's just because the community is so, involved in theories and crafting, things like that, we came to certain conclusions before the story could get there. So this is just it confirming what we speculated, which is still necessary for the story to progress. Everyone on Sunny notices that not only have the clouds have extended, but the barrier has been lifted, so basically we can get up out of here. Now there is a fleet underneath us, but I'm pretty sure if we use coup de burst, we're soaring over that fleet. That fleet doesn't even matter. And Brick even loaded up the cola, so I was like, okay, so we can launch off. We just need everybody here. That's all we're missing. And as you realize that, Zoro and Jinbei are pulling up on the rear. Now, oddly enough, Nurse is also pulling up on the rear. They got Gandhi in tow. And I've said it like many times during this arc, many times. Gandhi is putting in work. Gandhi has been all over this map, trying to basically take care of all the loose ends. You got the Straw Hats, you got the Elbaf Giants, you got the Pacifista. Like, he's been zipping around trying to keep things intact, while I feel like the rest of the Gorosei have been somewhat lackluster. I mean, Mercury and Jupiter stayed in the same spot for most of the arc. Jupiter just sat there and sucked up the island, accomplished nothing. Mercury was just sitting there taking punches from Luffy, accomplished nothing. At least Mars was trying to take care of the responder snail. Like, Mars, Gandhi, and I mean, Saturn, he's been trying. I'm not going to say he hasn't been trying. He's just been failing spectacularly. Gandhi has technically been failing too, but I feel like he's trying a lot more things. Now, Jinbei does something very similar to what Sanji would do with Zoro, where he uses Power Shot to kind of give Zoro momentum. And then Zoro comes in and clashes with Gandhi, and they realize they both have Kitetsus. Now, I wonder if it's a part of Gandhi's power or what, because they both have Kitetsus. Gandhi's sword is bigger than Zoro's entire body. Like, I guess I should say longer than Zoro's body. His sword is not a normal size, but that is not the size that sword is always at, because we've seen him sitting with his sword before, and even if it was the length of Law's sword, the way it is now, it's huge. It's way too big. So it's gotta increase in size based on his power. But they do a hockey clash. There's no real indication if it's Conqueror's hockey or if it's just basic hockey. I mean, there is the black lightning, but we visibly see that the swords are connecting. So we know that when they do a Conqueror's hockey clash, they don't connect. That's kind of the thing, is that there's the space of hockey between them, and that's what the clash is. So I would say that this is just a maybe a Rio, not a Conqueror's coating, a hockey coating clash, not a Conqueror's clash. Head over to Bonnie and the Viking ship, and they're trying to figure out where Luffy's at. Basically, everyone's trying to get to the ships because we're trying to get up out of here. And for the most part, I think we have everyone but Luffy and Dory and Broggy. But they come barreling through the fire. Everyone's set. And the Marines are trying to stop them. But I mean, they're giants. What are they going to do? It's really funny because one of the Marines is like, these are pirates from 100 years ago. Don't be scared. And it's like, bro, these are giants. You know how long a giant can live? 100 years ago just means they're in their prime right now. What are you talking about? You see how big they are? They can lift a ship with their bare hands. And you said, don't be scared. Like, be serious. And I mean, the giants start tearing apart the ships. Like, it's not even funny. They're lifting them, ripping them apart, taking people off. It's obnoxious. But we do get some nice Vice Admiral feats. One is from Vice Admiral Bluegrass, where Bluegrass has the devil fruit that allows her to ride or mount anything, if I'm not mistaken. So she's basically using the sea beasts, the mechanicalized sea beasts from Egghead to attack the ships, which is smart because those things are really strong. And they start blasting holes in the ship. But in comes Doll, and we've been waiting to see some Doll. I've been waiting to see some Doll. I know many others have been waiting to see some Doll. She comes in and she's just got hockey coated punches. And honestly, I love that. I enjoy a non-gimmick straight hands fighter. You know, we ain't got no swords, no specialized like anything. It's just she out here on some Garp time. He straight up just knocks out Kashi. And I wonder if she's like had any training through Garp. I feel like that would make some sense just based on that type of fighting style. Because it's not very common in the Marines to just be like straight hands. Like there's usually some kind of gimmick. Even if you're like a brawler, you have like a brawler gimmick. She's just straight hands. So I'd be curious to see where she got trained. Cutting back to Luffy, Dory, and Broggy getting out of the fire, they're looking for Mercury, but Mercury disappeared. And they're like, all right, whatever, let's get up out of here. Turns out Mercury went to join Mars, Peter, and Saturn as they basically stare down the Iron Giant. And if you remember from last chapter, we got the reveal that the signal was coming from within the Iron Giant. Like it's protecting it. Now, naturally, this is the moment where the big reveal gets lined up. You know, when all the Gorosei have finally reached the Iron Giant, we get a big reveal lined up that Vegapunk knows something about the Will of D. Not only that, he's about to tell us what he knows. The Gorosei do recognize the Iron Giant, and they see it as the one that attacked 200 years ago. Now, this makes me wonder if they were there when it happened, or they were just told that this happened. But the way that they say there can be no doubt of that makes me feel a lot more like they were there. It feels like a, no, I definitely remember this exact giant type scenario. But Vegapunk goes to say that those that carry the letter D in your name, he says, among you there is Mo, and then the Gorosei, who kick it into high gear at this point. And I part of me is like, are you doing this because he started talking about the Will of D? Or were you just fed up with this message? Because to me, it seems like once he mentioned the letter D, and the response of like the Gorosei being like, curse you, and having that message, the ellipses and like exclamation points, it seems like they were spurred into quicker action. And they charge the Iron Giant, and they end up knocking it away. Now, when this happens, it disrupts the signal, and we don't know what the rest of Vegapunk's about to say. So we get cut off with, among you there is Mo, and that's it. The interesting part of this is that I don't think we are done with the message. I feel like we might, I don't know if we're gonna get the Will of D. I don't know about that. I think we might get a continuation of the message, but like the part where Vegapunk kind of said the big reveal will be skipped. Because like the video is still playing but the correspondence got cut off. So like once the Iron Giant gets back up, it'll continue playing, but it won't like play from where it was. It will play from where it's at. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Now, there are some notes on what the mo could mean, because I think the Japanese says that it could be the start of an unknown word or the particle for also, which could be like, among you there is also, and then it gets cut off. Personally, when I first read it, I thought he was going to say monkey. I thought he was going to make reference to the monkey clan. As in, among you, there is a monkey clan. And those are the ones that Joyboy was waiting for. In school, because we even get a panning shot of like, not necessarily everyone that has the D in the name, but people that know people that have the D in the name. So Vegapunk says that we see Dragon, who not only does he have a D in the name, he knows about Garp, he knows about Luffy, like his whole family, pretty much. Sabo thinking about Ace and Luffy. You have Kobe thinking about Luffy and Garp. We have Teach, who it's really cool because Dragon and Teach have a similar panel where it's very dark and shaded, as opposed to like Kobe and Beppo, who have very light panels. So I wonder where that parallel came from. But the fact that I like the fact that Beppo's reacting, because that means Beppo knows Law's true name. And I don't know if this was covered in Law's novelization, and I guess it's not too surprising to see considering Beppo is like Law's right hand, but I just like that little shout out. It's nice. And that wraps up the chapter. We are not on break, so next week, I think next week might be one of those chapters where people are talking about stay off the internet. I don't know. I have a feeling that next week's chapter is going to be big. Will it actually be? I have no idea. I really hope so. I'm excited to see what we get, because I think this is pretty much where, like, we're in the final stretch of Egghead. We got maybe a couple chapters left and we'll be done. So at this point, all the Straw Hats are at the ship. I mean, we're basically on our way out of here. Once we get Luffy on the ship, they're probably going to Kuda burst, and we'll be on our way to Elbaf. So not only are we going to be like leaving here soon, we're going to get the in-between where we kind of see what the rest of the world's doing. Which means we're going to get Cross Guild, we're going to get Shanks. We might get some Kaido and Big Mom. A lot of stuff coming up. Super excited about it. Let me know what you guys thought. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I was watching Game Grumps and they said if you say smash the like button lights up. I don't know if I believe that, but I'm going to say it anyway because it sounds cool. I'll catch you in the next one.